Good evening. Welcome again to Stitching Traditions. I've been looking forward to filming this particular video because tonight I want to talk about my favorite designer or my favorite design collections, and those are from Stoney Creek. Stoney Creek emerged on the scene in 1984 with its founder Marilyn Vriedeveld at the helm. And she put together, I think, the most beautiful and exciting pictures. It's amazing what she was able to achieve with just her vision. And sadly, I learned from the Stoney Creek e-newsletter a few weeks back that Marilyn had gone on to be, as they said, with her Heavenly Father. And it meant the world to me to know that she was a Christian, and you can see that in her designs. The loveliness, the use of scripture, the use of Bible scenes, it's amazing. It's so positive and so lovely. It becomes a testimony in and of itself of her living faith and her using the talents that the Lord gave her for His glory and bringing a generation, that gift to a generation of young stitchers. I try to buy Stoney Creek patterns, the new patterns, the ones that are still currently being produced. I try to buy them from the Stoney Creek site. I buy them from some of the other sites that I've mentioned before. But I also like to go on Etsy, and what I'll do is I'll search vintage Stoney Creek. And I just found one that I've been looking for on eBay also. So one day in one of those searches, I found this beautiful pattern. It's called Bunny Love, and you see how it's done in several different ways. It's on a beautiful, working to a pillow front, and then a traditional picture, and then here is looks like a Sudbury house frame, or I believe that is actually a stool, and I would put money on that it's Sudbury house. But I wanted to show you how that completed picture looks, and I took this to Hobby Lobby. I'm not anywhere near able to frame like this myself. There's a little bit of a glare, and I apologize for that. I don't know how really to get away from that. But I was so pleased with the job that they did on the framing and the picture itself. And I wish in a way that I could show you the pattern and you could see the layers of colors that I alluded to in the last video about how they do things. I wanted to show you a project that I'm working on now, and I believe it's going to be quite a while before it's finished because I've gotten some things that have jumped in line ahead of it, but I have loved it. First of all, I will show you the pattern book from which it comes. It's Bouquets of Splendor, another beautiful Stoney Creek. This is copyrighted. Let me tell you the year. Copyrighted 1994, good year in our family. So I have this pattern also, and here is the one that I'm working on. These beautiful morning glories. And as lovely as this picture is, it doesn't capture fraction of how pretty the colors are actually showing up. I will show you, I've gotten about as far as this as I have on the deer, the fawns that I showed you last time. But this is where I am at this point. And I wish I could describe to you the texturing of these colors. Stoney Creek uses a method of color blending on some of these older patterns called tweeding, where they'll take a strand from one color and a strand from another and combine them. So you might have color A, color B, and then color C would be a combination of the two. And the effect is breathtaking. And just so you have a sense of the colors, the palette that's being used, here's one. These are all from that Morning Glory picture. But these are the colors. Periwinkles, blues, lilacs, greens, some yellows. And golds. It's just amazing. I cannot wait to get into some of the colors. I've been in the blues and the periwinkles for now. I'm looking forward to some of the other colors also. But that seems to be a Stoney Creek specialty. is the tweeting. And I've seen it on other patterns before. I had one years ago that I'll never finish. It was a picture of the Lincoln Cathedral. If I had started it back about 1995, if I'd started it, I would still be working on it. I just had to put it aside. It was too much. But they did a lot of the color blending. And so, but Stoney Creek seems to use it to the best effect. And I've seen it, how lovely it is when it's actually, you're working with those colors. I wanted to show you, I'm going to talk about floss in just a minute. But since this is a Stoney Creek episode, as it were, I want to show you some of the Stoney Creek patterns that I have. And again, it's just the pictures themselves. This is my latest copy. I think there is another issue that's been put out of the Stoney Creek magazine. Now, this was the Stoney Creek magazine also. And this is 1989. And then here is current from the winter quarter. And that picture, I really want to do that picture. I just think it's amazing. And the love that you see in the design it really does come through. Another issue that I have, I may not have it handy. I had another issue. Maybe I will save that for another. This gives me an excuse to talk about. Oh, no, here it is. I'll have an excuse anyway. This is also a more recent. This one is, I think it goes back a couple of years. I apologize for not having that date right on the tip of my tongue. You can order a lot of these back issues from StoneyCreek.com. But birds are a specialty. The flowers, and I just love those. I love those. It's just amazing. And I think that they have that framed. They have it framed in a unique way. And I will find that picture and show it to you. I feel like birds are a special love of the company. And I did want to show you. There's a couple of patterns in this issue I would like to do. I don't want to show you too much of the pattern. There is the unique way, I know this light is terrible, there is the unique way that it is framed. And you can get the specialty mats and the frames from Stoney Creek. So they make those things available to you. So one day just go on and browse and look at everything they have in their online store. And they would encourage you, I know they would encourage you to shop with your brick and mortar stores as well, or local shops, particularly the smaller businesses that may be, in fact, trying to recoup from this past year. Some other Stoney Creek patterns, and it was a good mail day at my house. I received 2 today that I ordered. I probably have about 40, maybe. I'll do a count one day. But these are 2 that I wanted. Bible stories, Best Love Bible stories. These are just stunning. These are just stunning. Here's some pictures on the back. They're amazing. They're amazing. And then this is really, the patterns here may very well be beyond me. If I get through the fawns, the deer, and the morning glories, then I may try these. Chickens here are just amazing. And on the back, there's spring in the valley. Here it is. And a term that the stitchers use today is full coverage. So I'm trying to stay away from some of the trendy terms, but this really is, it seems like every possible X is made on here. So these patterns are just typical of Stoney Creek's fabulous use of color, and you just fall in love with your picture. If I were talking to a young stitcher or someone who was trying to decide whether or not to take up this hobby or which patterns to use, I would say find a picture with which you can easily fall in love. because you're going to be stitching on it a long time. And if your heart's not in it, it'll just go off to the side where it'll stay forever and ever. But find something that you're absolutely in love with, and you can, through patience and time, you can work it out. And I would like to do a video at some point where we talk about time management and stitching. And I would try to be teaching myself as well, because even at my age, I still struggle with those issues. But when you pick a pattern, make sure it's something that you feel that you can love long enough to finish it. So one of the things that I appreciate about Stoney Creek is that they include, or at least in some of the older patterns, I can show you. I won't show you too much of the pattern itself, but you can see you have the DMC and the anchor colors, so you have a choice. We lived briefly many years ago in England, and if I mention this, I'm sorry. We lived many years ago in there, and we would go to some of the cities like York and Lincoln, and there were stitching shops everywhere. And I noticed there was a lot more anchor than there was DMC. And I don't quite know why, and I think that may be changing now. But in any case, I want to show you what I stumbled on at Joann's the other night. My husband and I were able to go out Friday night and have some supper, and we finished up in time enough to go to Joann's. And I had a sale coupon. I wasn't necessarily looking for anything in particular. This Joann's is a nice Joann's, and the last few times I've been in, the service has been extremely good and very positive. Can't say enough about it. But one of the weaknesses of this store, and this was even before the pandemic, was that they didn't seem to very often restock, and there was never anything that was different. I don't know why, but when I went in this time, it was everything. I told my husband the truck must have come in, because there were so many different things. But what made me almost just about jump up and down was a display, and you're not going to believe this. I can't get my whole little bag here to show you, but was a display of Anchor's newly marketed cross-stitch floss on spools. And I had a fit. I just about had a fit. And they had the spool, and they had a chart with the DMC equivalent. And like I say, I was stunned. I bought the 223, 224, 225 equivalents. Can't see in my hand here. The beautiful roses that were so popular, country rose, so popular. And then I bought the blues, the 930s, and I know many of you, if any of you are watching, you are very familiar with that. I bought the blues, 930s, and I also got the 500s, the equivalents of the DMC 500s. And what my goal is once I finish one of these patterns, I've got several things that I'm working on, but once I finish one of those, I'm going to select a Stoney Creek pattern, and then I'm going to purchase all of the colors in the anchor spool. I guess, I don't even know what to describe these other than floss spools. Now, I thought about this, and I thought, what a brave marketing leap that they made. And, we're all used to the little skeins with the 6 strands, and you pick your strand out, and you either put it on a bobbin or you put it in a little bag, however you store it. This is, to me, the best way, but I'm not disciplined the way I should be in getting everything on bobbins. But I've also used the little envelope method that you put in a little binder, and you can use that over and over and just put them in there. You don't have to wind or anything like that. But what is the beauty of this? You can take out exactly how much you want. I do everything just about in 2 strands, And one day I'm going to talk about the loop method, and you can search on that on YouTube yourself and find what I'm talking about. But the loop method of starting your stitches, and it works ideally with even numbered strands. So you can take any length that you want really, and then just cut it and double it, and that seems to work fine, and you don't have this other just sort of hanging around. You've got that, and you just, if you've got some left over, just wind it back around. And I think that is amazing. And what a bold move on the part of Anchor to go for this. I visited the local cross stitch stop in the next county over, shop in the next county over, and in Georgia counties where I live are very small, so you're not going very far necessarily to say you're crossing the county line. But the Tudor Rose, she carries some beautiful floss on spools, and I've bought some, and I haven't integrated it into anything that I'm making yet, but I had kind of planned to. But again, then you kind of got to guess, can I substitute for this? I always get nervous if I mess with colors, the way they're written in their charts. So I always think I'm going to mess it up if I change the color. But I've bought a few to try to be daring at some point. But here I would have the clear Anchor equivalents. I would have the Anchor colors listed here, and for sure thing, and it would just be going to the store and buying them just as I would DMC. And the price was about what the DMC floss is, and then I got a 20% discount off of that. I have not seen these anywhere other than at Joann's. I can't even find them online to purchase. But I just think this is amazing, and I'm so proud of them for taking such I keep saying the word bold, but such a bold move in marketing. And I hope it works for them, and I hope some others will try that. So uh, I would love to take out I have my Stoney Creek notebook where I have all of my Stoney Creek patterns that I have purchased and purchased off downloadable in downloadable formats and put them in sleeves. I've got them all here, and I would love to go through every one of them with you, but I'm not sure that's probably the best thing to do. Maybe one day we'll have a Stoney Creek Christmas. But I just wanted to talk about these and show you some of the things of how they've looked after they've been finished, how they look again in process. And I challenge you to look at some of these online to see if you can find something that you would like to do, and then hopefully you'll get one that has some of those lovely color variations and the tweeting, like I mentioned. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll keep you posted. I'll probably go visit with Gloria and Pat one day soon in terms of looking at some of the patterns. I did make my daughter a Gloria and Pat pattern, and it is now living several states away. I don't have that to show you, but I'll see if I can figure out how to link a picture below. But I hope that you are having a good week and that you're enjoying stitching or doing something else that the Lord has given you to do that brings you great joy. So feel free to comment down below. This is not a monetized site. I don't see that ever becoming what I would do. This is just something out there to put out there and share my love of stitching. I was talking to a friend today, a coworker, and she is a quilter. And I have two friends. They work together, and we all work at the same place. These two are in the same building, and they quilt, and they make beautiful things. And they come from rich traditions of sewing and quilting. And we've had good discussions. But I was talking to her today, and she said, "Are you going to teach anything on this?" And I really don't know that I can. I don't know that I have the skill set to really share, or if I could show you some things that I've learned to do, I'm not sure that I have the camera sophistication to do that. Maybe that would be something down the road. but I can share some tips with you, a little bit of history, a little bit, hopefully more than anything else, of encouragement and encouraging you to keep this up. Just think, Marilyn Breedevelt started this in 1984 to put some patterns out there for everyone to enjoy. Uh, and one site that I saw about her, and I really don't know as much about the company or the family behind this as much as I would like to know, but one site that I was reading about her said that she just couldn't find things that she really wanted to stitch, and so she went into the production of these. And you can see her imprint on the company and on these beautiful stitches. And think about the impact that her stitching and her creativity has had on a generation. Whatever you stitch might inspire someone to continue this lovely art form. And we please the Lord when we use the gifts and the eyes for beauty that He's given us. So, anyway, be encouraged. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll look forward to being back with you again, and we'll talk about Gloria and Pat. And those will surely be precious moments together. Thank you. Bye bye.